for the guest speaker to join us before now, but thank goodness that we've walked through that, and it seems. So you're welcome to this month's edition of the Ikenga Town Hall. And our guest speaker today is somebody that needs no further introduction at all, Chief Emmanuel Ifeanyichukwu Iwuanyanwu. He was generation. Okay. Welcome, Chief.
Hello.
Yeah, welcome.
Yes, how are you?
We are good. We are good. Thank you so. Thank you so
well,
much.
My name is Dr. Emmanuel Chukwuemeka Iwuanyanwu. Okay.
Yeah. So, Dr. Iwuanyanwu is not somebody that needs any further introduction. My generation grew up in the shadow of his overwhelming presence, both regional, national, and I dare say international. If you didn't ride on the road built by Hadel and Enick, then you probably must have flew Oriental Airline, or maybe enjoyed one of the many foreign products brought in outside Nigeria, courtesy of the Oriental shipping line. If you haven't used the services of Major Industries Furniture to furnish your home, you are probably may have cheered for Iwuanyanwu National in our Premier League. So our guest speaker today needs no further introduction. But before we go further, let me have my co-host, Dr. Chido Onuma, to do some housekeeping work. Chido, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Osmond, and a warm welcome to everyone from wherever you're joining us around the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Dr. Iwuanyanwu, it's a great pleasure to have you with us. The Ikenga Online Monthly Town Hall Meeting, which holds every last Thursday of the month, it's one of the signature projects or activities of the Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm hearing you now. I'm hearing you now.
Okay. Of IMCAI, the parent body of Ikenga Cultural and Media Awareness Initiative, IMCAI. So we do this once every month, and we've brought a number of prominent citizens of Igbo from the Southeast to participate in this process. This project is supported by the Mapato Foundation through the facilitation of the Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism. Ikenga Online is an online newspaper with focus on the Southeast. We started last year with the aim of giving voice to Southeast issues, some of the issues that are misreported or underreported. So we are running late. So if you want to know more about Ikenga Online, the website is ikengaonline.com. We are happy to have Dr. Iwuanyanwu here to give us some perspective about what is happening with Ohaneze and the Southeast in general. So I'll go back to Osmond and to do a quick bio of Dr. Iwuanyanwu, and then we kickstart the event. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chido. So the way we go is we will read the bio of Chief Dr. Iwuanyanwu, and then after that, we'll let him have 15 to 20 minutes as he chooses to make his remarks based on whatever he chooses to talk about. And then after that, it will be followed by a question and answer session from the audience. And then vote of thanks, and then we call it. And again, we will be rushing towards this because we've wasted a little bit of time, so we'll be very respectful of everybody's time. And so, without much ado, Chief Dr. Emmanuel Chukwuemeka Iwuanyanwu was born on September the 4th, 1942. We can all agree that he has a remarkable career. Started primary school at St. Patrick's School and Holy Trinity School, both in Port Harcourt, followed by secondary education at the New Bethel College in Onitsha, Anambra State. He later went on to the University of Nigeria to study engineering, which was interrupted by the war, but he later graduated a BSc honors in civil engineering at the University of Nigeria. From then, he had gone far and wide. He holds an impressive collection of degrees, both acquired and honorary, from esteemed institutions, including an LLD from Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina, here in the US, Doctor of Science in both Morgan State University, Baltimore, Maryland, University of Nigeria, University of Jos, University of Calabar, Federal University of Technology, Owerri. They're just too numerous to count. But throughout his illustrious life, he's also a recipient of many awards and fellowships. Notable among them includes the University of Nigeria Academic Exchange Award, which he received in 1964, achieving the highest grade in his first year in an engineering class. Also, Business Concord Person of the Year 1990, Distinguished Leadership Award by the Federal University of Technology and Nigerian Union of Journalists, as well as Sports Writers Association of Nigeria Gold Merit Award. They are just too numerous to mention. He also a recipient of many national honors, including Member of the Federal Republic, Officer of the Federal Republic, and Commander of the Federal Republic. He is most distinguished in his business as an international businessman. He's the chairman of McGill Industries Limited, involved in manufacture of furnitures, Hadel and Enik in construction, Sunrise Insurance Brokers, Ben Hole Farms Limited, Iwuanyanwu Holding and Properties, Sunrise Breweries, Iwuanyanwu National Football Club, Iwuanyanwu Foundation, which is an educational and development trust. He's also the executive chairman of Champion Newspapers and a host of so many others, including the Oriental Airline, the Oriental Shipping Lines. His philanthropy knows no bounds. He built the Cathedral of St. Matthew's in his hometown of Ata-Ikeduru, all by himself. Chief Iwuanyanwu has been a constant fixture in Ohaneze since the early 1980s when he took interest. He's held many leadership positions with the group, including being the chairman of Ohaneze Igbo Planning and Strategy Committee, Ohaneze Political Committee, Ohaneze Igbo State Creation Committee, as well as the Ohaneze Igbo Council of Elders, which was why upon the death of Ambassador George Obiozo in December of 2022, Chief Iwuanyanwu was a natural choice and became the president of Ohaneze Igbo, a position he assumed officially on April 20th of 2023. Chief Dr. Emmanuel Chukwuemeka Iwuanyawu's exemplary journey encompasses his exceptional academic brilliance, distinguished professional associations, numerous accolades, and his enduring commitment to social progress. His name resounds as a symbol of excellence, philanthropy, positive transformation, and at both national and international scale. Please welcome a business magnate, a consummate politician, a philanthropist, pillar of sports in Africa, Ezomero Hawan of Ata-Ikeduru, Okosisi Mbise, Ebubedike of Aba, Okome Nisu, Balogun of Ibadan, Aheje Jemba of Igbo land, MFR, OFR, CFR. You're welcome, Chief. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm quite delighted to be here. Thank you very much. May I continue then?
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you. Well, as you have already said, I am the President General of Ohaneze Igbo worldwide. And in that capacity, Igbos have now chosen me as their leader. I am conscious of that responsibility. As you probably know, Igbos are about the biggest tribe in the whole of Africa, one homogeneous tribe. Igbos have a population of over 60 million people. Igbos are dispersed virtually everywhere in Nigeria, but they are concentrated in 7 states. Igbos are concentrated and form majority of people in Enugu State, in Anambra State, in Abia State, in Ebonyi State, in Imo State, and also substantially in Rivers State and Edo State. So in 7 states in Nigeria, Igbos have a commanding presence. Now, Igbos also are indigenous. When I say indigenous, they're indigenous, not just visitors or entrepreneurs who just went to establish business. They are indigenous of some communities in Delta State, some communities in those states, some communities in Kogi State, some communities in Benue, some communities in Cross River, some communities in Akwa Ibom, and even some communities in Nasarawa. Igbos in Nigeria are dispersed all over Nigeria. It is very well-known fact to all Nigerians that Igbos are everywhere, in every local government in Nigeria, in every community, living very harmoniously, living very peacefully with the people, and pursuing their occupation. And not only occupying, but making substantial progress, making positive contribution towards the development of their host communities. They pay their taxes, they build houses, they build schools, they build businesses. I think Igbos contribute to the GDP of this country very substantially. Many even say that Igbos, among all the ethnic groups, Igbos contribute more to the GDP of Nigeria. So indeed, we are talking of a tribe that is very highly educated, that is very, very resourceful, that have a lot of commitment to whatever they want to do. And that's why our place has developed. I will give you a brief history to let you know the extent our people have made progress. If you remember, in 1884, there was the Berlin Conference. Colonial powers went to Berlin to share Africa. Before this time, there was what we call Scramble for Africa. That scramble for Africa was not for development, was not for democracy. It was because the colonial powers wanted to exploit the resources, abundant natural resources of Africa, to develop their own countries. It is clear and on record that most of the development in these Western countries today were derived from raw materials and from Africa. Even they went to the extent of even exploiting the labor. There was a time when labor were translated to Europe and America as slaves. So in effect, they met in and then shared Africa. At that time, Britain got the Federation of Northern Nigeria and Federation of Southern Nigeria. The two federations were two different slots. They are different countries. The Berlin Conference didn't consider them as one. However, British government put in Frederick Lugard to supervise, to be the Governor General. He was simultaneously supervising the British trading company. I think because of convenience for trade, Nigeria was amalgamated, the North and the South was amalgamated in the year 1914. It is clear to all Nigerians that the amalgamation was not based on love for Nigeria. Are you on the line? Are you hearing me?
Yeah, clearly.
Okay. Now, it is clear to all Nigerians that this amalgamation was not for purpose of bringing democracy or for developing, but just to facilitate the exploitation. But whatever happens, we in Nigeria today, we give thanks to God. We are happy that we came together because that unity which Lugard initiated has produced a very big country, Nigeria, a giant of Africa, a country which all of us believe, if properly managed, if properly administered, if properly gone, can be a very powerful force in Africa and the world. In 1914, when Lugard when Lugard amalgamated Nigeria, Igbos had no secondary school. Igbos had no graduate, but some other parts of Nigeria have got secondary school in 18-something. Some of them have got graduate by 18-something. It's just to let you know. I'm telling this story for you to know the capacity, the enterprising spirit of Igbos, the spirit of an Igbo man to make success in everything he does. I can tell you that the first secondary schools in Igbo land were established between 1922 and 1925. They were the Dennis Memorial Grammar School at Onitsha, Methodist College, Uzakole, and I think Hope College was in Calabar then, because Eastern Nigeria was treated as one body then. But you see, after Lugard, Clifford took over around 1921. Now, Clifford, in fact, didn't do much. He didn't see any reason bringing the two regions together because he didn't see anything. He just stayed until the first constitution or political program was initiated by Arthur Richards in 1946. When Arthur Richards introduced the Richards Constitution, which now split Nigeria into three regions: Northern region, Eastern region, and Western region. Igbos were then in the East as a dominant tribe in the Eastern region. On the other hand, in the West, Yorubas were a dominant region. Now, that is actually the time political activity started. Now, around 1951, John McPherson became the Governor General. And of course, McPherson tried to put a constitution, but it was when Littleton came in 1953 that we had the first constitution when all the ethnic groups went to Lancaster House in London and drew up a constitution which we up to today regard as the best, because that constitution was drawn by all the ethnic nationalities. All the ethnic nationalities were represented in Lancaster House, and the constitution was drawn. It's remarkable to say that at this point, the biggest driver of independence and nationalism of Nigeria was Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, an Igbo man. In spite of the fact that others were before us, Igbos have taken the lead in driving and working for independence. Zik was the champion, he took the lead. Now, the next point is in 1960, by 1960, when we had independence, it was clear that Igbos were already the biggest in education. In the military, we were when the British was handing over, they handed over to an Igbo man, Aguiyi. Even in the police, they handed over to that, who is also from Eastern Nigeria. Now, in every sphere of life, then, Igbos who in 1914 had no secondary school have now taken over. And of course, this situation attracted a lot of jealousy. In this world, progress creates jealousy, and that was the plight of Igbos. And thereafter, there was always this talk about Igbo domination. Because what happened at that time, the British government left a good legacy, a legacy of efficiency, a legacy of merit. Everything under the British government was done on merit. And Igbos excel when everything is on merit. And then other people now started accusing Igbos of domination. For example, if you have an exam, perhaps you want 10 people or 6 people, maybe the first 5 or 6 will be Igbos. And you know, it attracted a lot of problems with other people. Later on, when the government decided to say we should now amend it, we started, okay, let there be a federal character. We agreed. We Igbos are very fair. We are very considerate. We agreed. What that federal character means is this. If in an exam, an Igbo person scores 300, and somebody from another place scores 200, an Igbo son or daughter may not be taken, but that person with 200 will be taken. Obviously, we accepted it. We know it's not fair to the child. But now, we also insisted that in politics, where we find ourselves disadvantaged, because in politics, Igbos are Christians. We are completely Christians because Christian missionaries came and then established in Igbo land, and Igbos are Christians. And Igbos naturally don't marry more than one wife. Some marry more, but it's very rare. Unlike in Islam, where people marry more than one wife. So the truth is that in population, the North is definitely bigger than us in population, and their voting power, and of course the land area is bigger. So the truth about it is, we now said, let the political position be zoned. Let it be zoned to us. We can know when it will be our turn. But unfortunately, the way it is done, they say it's North and South. It makes it still in such a way that the North still controls it in the South. Because when the thing is even done to the South, if the North throws its weight to any group, the group will definitely win. So you could see these are some of the problems we have in Nigeria. I don't want to belabor that point. Let me come to other areas. Now, we had our independence in 1960. And I can tell you that that government, Zik, was the person who fought for independence. If you look at all those colonial countries, if it's only in Nigeria that the person who led the struggle for independence didn't become the president after when the independence was obtained. But Zik made a statement. He said, and I remember, and I quote, that even though that what matters to him is that Nigeria is free. It doesn't matter who is the president, whether it is himself or Awolowo or Sardauna or Tafawa Balewa. That is typically what person. We believe in Nigeria, and we believe in Nigeria, and we are determined to make sure Nigeria succeeds. That has driven us, propelled us to go and settle everywhere and work and succeed. Now, in 1960, we started our independent journey, and Igbos have played a lot of parts in every area. Igbos have played a major part in education, in sports, in industries, in other areas. I want to mention there is one other thing in Igbo land that made them to scale. What made a group who in 1940 didn't have a school, didn't have a secondary school, didn't have any graduates, didn't have by 1960 they became the best in education. In 1960 they became the best in trade and business. One, Igbos had what they call town union. In those days, the moment Igbos were convinced by the missionaries that education is very important, Igbos now decided to give scholarship. All the early graduates in Igbo land were not trained by their parents. They were trained by the communities, because Igbos then said that in every community, any brilliant child was given the opportunity to go to university. And that's how many Igbos went to university. And by 1960, Igbos had produced more graduates in all the various fields, medicine, engineering, professional, every professional field. Then in business, there is another thing Igbos did. And Igbos is what they call apprenticeship. When an Igbo man is a trader, he collects 3 or 4 apprentices from his place, his village, or his relations. He doesn't pay them any salary. All he does is to feed them and house them and clothe them. After serving the apprenticeship for 3 years or 4 years, then they are discharged. When they are discharged, the salary he could have paid them, he is now paid to them en bloc. And they now use this business to start their own business. This person now, when he starts that business, will now take about 3 or 4 people the same way. And we realize that this prospect of apprenticeship became a multiplier factor that made Igbos produce many big business people. That is why in Nigeria today, Igbos are rated to be very substantial and very strong in the areas of trade, commerce, and business and industries. So these are the two things: education and also our spirit of help to our brothers as well. That's the quality of. So the truth about it is that, you see, there are people who have worked very hard and have played a lot of part to survive in Nigeria. Now, there is no aspect of Nigerian life that Igbos have not made contribution. In sports, Igbos have made a lot of contributions. Many years ago, Emmanuel Ifeajuna, I think, was the first to win a gold medal in Commonwealth in Vancouver. Emmanuel Ifeajuna is in high jump in those days. There are so many people like the Tiger, Power Mike. There are so many others. If you come to Kanu Nwankwo was the first Nigerian to captain a team that won a gold medal in football in the Olympic. Chioma Ajunwa won a gold medal. I think the first Nigerian woman to win a gold medal in Olympic. So you see, we have distinguished ourselves in every area. So I think really that we feel happy, we feel satisfied. But what we are saying, what Igbos are complaining, because they believe that in spite of all the efforts they have made to show Nigerians that they are they believe in the country, but they don't get enough returns for what they do. Like last government, they were definitely neglected. For a very long time, no Igbo man was there in the security system of the country. There was obvious discrimination against Igbos. Now, you see, this thing disturbs us. Part of the problem we have was the coup in 1966. In 1966, there was a coup d'etat. Nigerians branded that coup as an Igbo coup. That coup is not in any way an Igbo coup. I am saying it clearly, loud and clearly, that it was a coup planned by military officers, young military officers. All the tribes in Nigeria were part of it. But somehow they labeled it Igbo coup and profiled it to be done by one Nzogu, but it was not. Now, the irony is that there was a coup. The government was supposed to have been toppled. Then we all listened to the announcement. I was then in university. I was in my final year in university then. We listened to the tune. They said it was coup. Suddenly, we heard that the coup had been squashed, to be killed. We now hear that Ironsi, who was then the head of the army, a warrior, a man who has fought in Congo to defend, to restore democracy in that country. Ironsi now fought and stopped the military coup. So Ironsi, in fact, is an Igbo soldier. The first person in Africa, first soldier I can see, who has fought to restore democracy. What we hear in Nigeria and Africa is that soldiers take over power. Ironsi is the first the first soldier who was...
No sleeping. No. I asked if somebody, so I thought maybe you were sleeping, so I didn't want to.
Hello? Are you with me?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was saying that, you see, so after Ironsi got this, civilians were confused out of appreciation, out of that, because they were disorganized. They felt since they were disorganized, the civilians voluntarily handed over power to Ironsi. Later on, Ironsi was to be a martyr. He has to be killed for no just cause. Killed for no just cause. And not only him, even his host, Fajuyi, was killed. As the President General of Ohaneze Igbo, I intend this year, during Igbo Day celebration, to honor both Ironsi and Fajuyi for their efforts, for Ironsi's effort in protecting democracy. I believe that Nigerians instead of profiling Nigeria, Igbos the way they do, should appreciate that you don't see an Igbo son, a soldier, was able to fight against the young people who carried out the coup in 1966 and stop them. And then he was voluntarily given government by the civilians. But nobody is praising him for it, and that disturbs us. Instead, they are saying Igbos killed Hero, Igbos killed Sadwana, Igbos killed Buaka, Igbos killed. The truth is that Igbo leaders are very sad over the bloodshed. Igbo leaders are not happy that great leaders, that Sadwana, Atafa Balawa, and Kintola, these are great leaders. And we respect them. They respect our leader, Nanjazi Iwe. So we are not happy with those people. We are happy that Ironsi was able to stop them. Because if that government had taken over power, we don't even know how far they could have gone. So Ironsi did a lot of service to Nigeria. He's an Igbo, but he's not actually being recognized up to today. People now say Igbos killed Sadwana, Igbos killed Abubakar. Igbos didn't kill them. That coup, their motive, we knew. Igbos were not to benefit from, they had nothing to do. They didn't have the coup probably to put Nnamdi or any Igbo leader to a high position. No, we know what they want to do. It wasn't actually for Igbos. It was a coup by young Nigerians from all the tribes who are in the army. But people feel happy to say it's the Igbo coup. Many coups have taken place in that time. We Igbos have avoided the temptation of profiling an individual behavior and letting it be as if it's a group behavior. But it is very fashionable. Whenever an Igbo person is found committing a crime, they say it's Igbos. But in every place, in Igbo land, yes, we have bad people. I cannot say everybody is good. But in other places, we have bad people. We hardly do that, but people do that against us, and we don't like it. We want people to accept us as their brothers, to accept us as we have accepted Nigeria. Now, the war ended, and obviously the war ended. Those of us who were witnesses, we know how the war ended. No victor, no vanquished. Now, we said, Igbos, return to your places and continue. Igbos came back. And since then, everywhere you go, Igbos are there. So there is no way anybody can show that he loves his country more than what Igbos are doing. Igbos are the only people who have invested in the whole 36 states and Abuja. To the extent that if you go to Abuja or Lagos or Kano or Port Harcourt, Igbos have more investment than even the indigenous of those places. I today, I am the leader of Igbos. As the leader of Igbos, I am now throwing it open to others. I want others to come and invest in Igbo land. As the leader of Igbos, I'm begging other Nigerians, the same way Igbos are investing in their place, let them come and invest in Igbo land. Let them come and create jobs, create goods, create services, the way we create in their place. That is when this country will have true unity. But whatever happens, we are not going to discourage Igbos from pursuing the life, and we warn Igbos. Wherever you are, make sure that don't take anybody's land, but you have a right to buy. Igbos in Lagos, they buy land, they develop it. Lagos today, anybody who thinks Igbos should not share the glory of developments in Lagos is unfair. Igbos came into Lagos, most of the places were swamped, they reclaimed it, they bought land, they developed the place, they built industries, they built shops. I think without such things, a city would not be, without these people like Igbos and other tribes, not only Igbos, Lagos will not be what it is. So it will not be fair for anybody to have it as the back of his mind. There's an Igbo man who has come to Lagos, bought a property, developed it, pay tax, pay rent. You come one and say you should go home, or that you are going to seize it, or you're going to destroy it, or you are going to make laws that will make life difficult for him. I think these are things that we will not like, because this is things that will create problem in this federation. People are always talking about secession, Igbo secession. That is not correct. If there is a person who wants to secede, will not invest the way Igbos are investing in other places. We even think people who want to secede are the other people who are not investing in Igbo land and other places. People who believe in Nigeria should invest everywhere like Igbos are doing. So Igbos, this secession they talk about, it's not that Igbos want to secede, but the younger Igbo people feel very, very sad. They feel, for example, that if you have in a country where a young, ambitious, brilliant person who probably aspires to be president, when he realizes that he cannot be president because of one thing, because an Igbo man, and that is type of message, narrative being given in some places. So these are some of the things that worry the young people. In most cases, recently, jobs are no more. In those days, jobs were advertised. There was a competitive bid. And when an Igbo man first, it doesn't matter. Today, employment is just given from under the table. Nobody knows. Igbos, unfortunately, are not occupying very high political positions. The political positions are occupied by other tribes. So that this is a very big handicap to Igbo young people. So there's a handicap, and this is what is worrying the Igbo young people. That is why we in Ohaneze, under my leadership, we are pressing seriously for a restructuring of this country. And mark you, Igbos have always insisted on restructuring. I want to bring your attention to the case in Aburi. After the coup, Igbos were massacred, slaughtered in hundreds of thousands in Nigeria, in parts of Nigeria. They came back to eastern Nigeria. They left all their things in those places. They came back completely destitute. Eventually, we now went to Aburi. There was a peace conference in Aburi. Ojukwu, contrary to what people think, Ojukwu was not a champion of secession. No. I was close to Ojukwu as a young man. He liked me. He liked me because I was part of the struggle then. Ojukwu didn't like secession. Ojukwu went to Aburi for a restructuring. And when he went to Aburi, he was not asked to ask for secession, but to ask for restructuring of Nigeria so that Igbos can live comfortably. When he went to Aburi, Gowon led the delegation from Nigeria, and they agreed on a restructuring. Unfortunately, when Gowon came to Nigeria, I think some people in Nigeria then completely rejected the whole negotiation, and that is actually what led to secession and the war. Even at that, Ojukwu didn't come to announce that he was seceding. He had to get the elders a meeting was called in Enugu of all the provinces, all the provincial administrators, all of them were there. And they now decided that since we are being killed, we don't feel safe anywhere, and then they say that we don't need to restructure, we have to go back under the same condition when we are not sure of your life. So that is how they said we went into this Biafra. Otherwise, there was nothing, and there is no reason. Igbos have no reason to say they are seceding from Nigeria. So you notice that we were pushed to it. If they had agreed on what Ojukwu and Gowon had agreed in Aburi, there could have been no war. This was pushed, this was forced on us. So we have all these problems, and we normally try our best to explain, but there's nothing. When we explain today, nobody has ever told the truth about this, that the war was forced on us. We wanted the restructuring, but they didn't want it. And today, the whole Nigerians want restructuring. Today, the South wants restructuring. Southwest wants restructuring. And most part of the North wants restructuring. So everybody has seen that the restructuring of Nigeria is very imperative. It's very imperative to the stability of this country. It's not a matter of one person deciding that what he says must happen, because the 1999 constitution is not possible, cannot keep this country. We need to have a constitution that will restructure Nigeria to the extent that all the ethnic groups will have will be able to develop. So, so I think really I have spoken enough. I think my time is over. I hope it's my time over.
Thank you very much.
Good. Yeah.
Well, my time is over. Otherwise, if I'm asked questions, then I can answer more. I have a lot of things to talk, but let me stop here.
Sure. Thank you so very much. This is actually a historic tour de force. You know, you gave us History 101, which is actually very nice, because some of the things you talked about, you know, is part of our history that many, even including people in the audience here, don't know much about. So we thank you so much. Before we go further, we want to recognize our media partners who are live streaming these events, even in Facebook, in their platforms, including the Urban FM in Enugu, Omalicha FM in Owerri, as well as Njenje TV. So we thank all of them for joining in this program. We will turn over now to a question and answer session from the audience. But before then, I guess I will fire the first shot, which again, we want to congratulate you for your new position as the President General of Ohaneze. There is no doubt that you are tailor-made for this job. You've had a life spanning a tremendous life in the business field, as well as in politics. I'm aware of the fact that you contested to be the president of Nigeria 3 times, and you're still an active board member of the PDP Board of Trustees. So you
retired from politics.
Okay, good. So you know where all the crops are buried, literally. Now, you made mention of the fact that you're asking all the non-Igbos from all over Nigeria to come and invest in Igbo land, just like our people are going out and doing in the other places. But which is good, you know, and many of us have carried on that kind of argument whenever they make it sound like we Igbos are not receptive to others coming to invest in our homeland. But the question they always ask is, why would anybody try to come to Igbo land and invest when Igbos are leaving their homeland in droves because of high crime, because of poor infrastructure, because of very, very terrible leadership? Now, talking about leadership, as the new PG of Ohaneze, one thing you have to know, which I'm sure you're aware, is the fact that young Igbos are very, very bitter about leadership in Igbo land. They are not happy with the way things has been going. They feel like what is happening to us as a people is because of failure in leadership from all the top echelon of our society. One of the questions that I would like, which somebody asked in this forum, is how are the ways that Ohaneze under you will be positioning, you know, to change the narrative here? Because obviously, you know, many young Igbos don't trust whether it's Ohaneze, whether it's the governors and the rest of them. And how it pans out is the fact that, you know, one of the problems that we've seen is the lack of autonomy of Ohaneze. And why we say that is because, you know, most of the time they're looking for funds from the governors. And the governors want to use Ohaneze as a platform to advance their own political ambition. So what are you going to, as a businessman who has known know how all these things work, what are the special things that you're going to be doing to win Ohaneze off the control by the governors? You know, so that's
thank you very much. Okay. Now, I want you to know that at a time in the history of Nigeria, the GDP of Eastern Nigeria, that's Igbos, Ozimen Headland, was between 9 to 10. It was a fast-growing economy. The economy was growing between 9 and 10%. And then the World Bank recognized it as one of the fastest growing. That time, we have so many flourishing industries. the government that time of Eastern Nigeria, which was Igbo heartland. In Aba, we had a glass factory. Glass factory, the major raw material is river sand, especially river sand. God gave to us in Aba that was producing glass, very good glass. Today, it is not there. Now, we used to have a ceramic industry. Today, we are importing our ceramics from China, from Italy, from Turkey, from all the places. The raw material is so raw, mainly from Okigwe area, even Bakaleke area, and part of Umuahia, and even part of Nsukka. But the raw material, God has given it to us. We can produce any type of, but it's not there. God has given us a cement factory, limestone. Limestone is the most important industry. Why I'm saying this is from other investors who may want to invest. Let them approach my office. We will give them guidelines on how to come in to invest. God has given Southeast a very large deposit of limestone. I have set out studies since I became the President General of Igbo worldwide to study all this. And we have enough limestone in Igbo land to be able to establish up to 5 cement factories. And if we do that, we can supply the whole of Africa with cement. And in fact, with that alone, the amount of foreign exchange it will generate, we will not need anything for oil at all. Now, we have a lot of granite, which can be used also in making tiles, and of course in building roads and so on. We have today, we have oil we have 7 Igbo states. Among the 7 Igbo states, we have oil in rivers, we have oil in Delta, we have oil in Abia, we have oil in Imo, we have oil now in Anambra. I think Enugu has got oil now.
Chief, sorry, I don't mean to cut you short, but I want to make sure that, because I know you don't have all the time. Though all those things you mentioned is true, but they can only happen in an atmosphere where there is leadership, there is infrastructure, there is, insecurity is at least something that has to be addressed. So the question we're asking is, as the new PG of Ohaneze, what are you going to be doing differently to win Ohaneze off the Southeast governor so that they become independent and
I can
present
tell you that the truth about it, the Southeast governors didn't at any time tell a PG not to get money. I have not got Ohaneze require the Southeast governors. But if you go hand begging for money, he who pays the piper, he takes the tune. But it doesn't make sense. I don't see why a PD should go and start begging. Igbos are ready to finance Ohaneze. I have not got any money from any state government, but the state governments are giving cooperation. We need them. There is no way we can operate without the state governors. But the mistake people made in the past is depending on them for money. You know that, you see, to succeed, you need to mobilize people at all the states and all the local governments in all the union, all the town. And the governors are there. But the present Ohaneze, I'm working with the governors, they accept my leadership. They accept him. Fortunately, all the politicians, most of them were my boys. They were politicians under me. They, in fact, the governors together supported my appointment. So I have them 100% with me. Okay. If you remember, the day I took the oath of office in Enugu, in the government house in Enugu, the 5 state governors were represented. 2 of them were present. The deputy governors, the other deputy were there. So the position is, people in the past probably just have a wrong impression that the governors should give them money. It's not correct. Igbo leaders are ready to give money. Recently, we have been functioning without asking the government for money. Leaders in Igbo land have been giving us, have been donating to us.
That's wonderful.
Problem.
That's wonderful. Hey, Chido, let's take more questions from the audience. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Iwuanyanwu, for this expose. There are people who have raised their hands. There are so many questions, and we don't have much time. I'll read a number of questions. If you answer this, then we can then go to the public. Sorry, to the participants. So the first question, and this is from somebody who sent in these questions from Uche from Enugu. The first question, and some of them, the answers may overlap. Under your tenure, how do you intend to ensure restoration of group discipline among Igbo and financial autonomy of Ohaneze, which you have touched briefly? Then the second question is, the Southeast is marginalized in appointments and infrastructure. And there is infrastructure deficit, roads, international airports, seaport, railways, and so on. What's Ohaneze doing to address these fundamental deficits with political stakeholders and the federal government? Then the third question is, for some years now, insecurity has been plaguing the Southeast due to myriad factors, farmers, herders, clashes, activities of non-state actors. What efforts is Ohaneze going to make under your leadership to deal with this? And then he also talked about the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Number 4, which is something you've addressed. What's Ohaneze and Igbo doing to attract Igbo to massively invest in Igbo land? So we are here, you asking non-Igbos to come and invest in Igbo land. Also concerned that 2 more.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah, you can go ahead. He's
okay. Want me to go ahead?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Now you talked about one thing. I have set up a committee under the chairmanship of Obi of Onitsha. That committee is going to deal with culture and our tradition. They will go into some of these ethics, because obviously no country can survive. Even our forefathers, they had ethics. We are going to go back to that to know Zomenala. That committee, Obi of Onitsha is the chairman of Council of all traditional rulers in all the 5 states are members. And then in the Department of Igbo Study, University of Nigeria have got a seat in the board. Department of Igbo Study, Nandaziki will have a seat in the board. Department of Igbo Study, Gregory University have a seat in the board. In fact, I think the Chancellor, Gregory, is a member of the board. Now, the Department of Igbo Study, Nandaziki, Imo University. So they are going to face squarely the issue of our culture. We require a total orientation. We have to tell our younger ones what Igbos did in the past to assume exalted us, to become respected, and we want them to behave like that. We have got the point, we have to have a social orientation. We have also that committee, the first thing we wanted to do before the end of the year. We don't have any carnival. Everything we do looks haphazard. We have Iriji. Some people reach Iriji is May. Some people is in August. Some people is in September. And Iriji is a cultural festival, which can be a carnival that can attract people, it will bring revenue to Igbo land if we organize it. So they are going to decide any 1 week that will be a carnival, Iriji festival. It will be followed by other things like Mount, wrestling, a lot of things. So these things about culture, about character, about tradition, even up to Iwuanyanwu, all these things must be properly spelled out. I have got a committee handling it. So that will be okay. The one of business, frankly speaking, we have also a business committee, because I'm setting up a committee. I have not announced the committee yet. We call it business leaders. I want to bring them up so that the business has helped to bring us where we are. I'm also setting up the one on education. You see, all these things, at least we have set up a committee on education already under the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Nigeria, Asuka. That was former Minister of Power, Nebo.
Bat, Naji.
No, Nebo.
Okay.
Nebo.
Oh,
So
Nebo,
he
okay.
is now going to look at our education, a lot to be done to transform it. I've got committees already working on that. So we are looking at that. And I think I want to tell you also that we have never, one thing about us, we are very nonchalant about recognizing our people. Other tribes make their heroes to be heroes. Our own, I think after 1 or 2 generations now, nobody will remember that we have people like Nnamdi Azikiwe, that we have people like Ago Ironsi, who was able to quell a military rule. We have people like Emma Okpara, who brought us to where we are. We have people like many leaders. So Ohaneze, under my leadership, has approved honors award. From now, every Igbos who have achieved, who deserve to be achieved, will be honored. I'm building a world headquarters of Ohaneze in Enugu. The world headquarters will contain a museum of Igbo history. At the moment, our history is so disjointed, we have to organize it. That will also contain a hall of fame. This year, I intend that people like Dr. Nnamdi, the honors are in the following categories: heroes of Igbo land, distinguished heroes of Igbo land, and grand heroes of Igbo land. There are 3 categories of award now. A committee will work on to stop other things. Many people are going to receive award this year. Some of the people like Nnamdi Azikiwe, like Emma Okpara, like Ojukwu, like Osadebe, like Akani Biam. These are all people who will get the grand award, and it will be awarded. We have also not forgotten our friends. We are also going to honor people like the man who was killed with Ironsi, Fajui, who is going to be given a Heroes Award by us. People like Ado Bayero, the Emir of Kano. When our people were being killed, many ran to his house and he saved them. We are going to honor his death. People like Daniel Gusanya, who is a friend to Zik, who helped Igbos. We are going to honor him. We want to show the world that Igbos don't forget their friends. Even people like Effiong. Effiong was consistent with us throughout the period. Effiong is going to be given a Heroes Award. The New Year Palm. Even people like Margaret. So we tend to do that. A committee has been set up under my personal leadership, but the other members of the committee are Senator Wabara, Senator Apasanyim, Senator Ken Namani, people like Ezife, and many other distinguished Igbo leaders. Most of Igbo leaders, even this man, Simeon Okeke. There are so many top people, and even people like Ekweme will be honored. So many Igbos will be honored. By Saturday, the committee will meet, and we're going to release the list by next week. So at least people will know that Igbos also remember their heroes, and we show gratitude to them. This is going to be done by next week. We'll release the list. So that, I think, will take care of it. Now, it's the question of Nnamdi Kanu. The truth about it is that, you see, we have taken a position, and we have told Nigerians that we want Nnamdi Kanu to be released, because nobody has told us any offense he has committed. Nnamdi Kanu escaped from the country when he said he was flying for his dear life. He said that his life was threatened, so he ran away. There is no human being whose life will be threatened and he will run away. He was kidnapped from Kenya and brought here. We wanted the law to take its course. After the trial, the judges released him. And so we don't understand why one can say he's a terrorist. He has, even the people who are causing problem in Southeast, Nnamdi Kanu has distanced himself from them. Nnamdi Kanu said they are not with him. I can't see why anybody today can still continue to detain Nnamdi Kanu, because Nnamdi Kanu is not telling Igbos, because it is very sad. And in the history of Igbos, I've had it before, that somebody who is an Igbo son will come and tell Igbos not to go to work. Once you tell an Igbo person not to work, you have finished him. Because these are poor women. Some of them earn their living by selling granite, by selling vegetables, and then tell them to stay in the house. How are they going to feed? So the truth about it, Nnamdi Kanu says he is not with them. And in fact, I'm using this media to appeal to these people who say they are working for Nnamdi Kanu. I'm appealing to them now. I am their father. I'm the leader of Igbo race. As the leader, I'm saying I don't want the military or army to come because they will kill even innocent people. But I'm appealing to them, please, to turn. We're going to forgive them. I, as a father, I will forgive them. But let them change. Because if they don't change, the government will be forced to bring in the military and the Air Force. We have gone through this before. We lost so many people. We don't want our area to be a battleground again. I don't want it. That's why I'm appealing to all these people through this media that I am their father. I will protect them. Let them please surrender. If they surrender, I will also make sure they are accommodated. In my program, I have planned, we're going to establish new towns, establish new industries. For example, in Abia, there was the Enyimba town before. We're going to reactivate it. The Uguta Lake is now being dredged to the Atlantic Ocean. When I went to America, I saw people who want to invest. And I'm sure you probably heard that while I was in America, many top Americans, very top Americans, declared that they're Igbos. They told us that their forefathers, many centuries ago, came into America. But before they died, they left a message that they were taken from Igbo land to America, and that their children should locate Igbo land and that they're Igbos. So these people, they are rich people, prominent people, generals, they all declare with their children and I, as the President General and leader of Igbos, receive them on behalf of all Igbos and issue them with certificate. I'm expecting they will come back. In fact, I even discussed with the governors. You know, I want to carry everybody along with me. We all agreed to appoint two of them. Two of them have been appointed in the Ohaneze Presidential Advisory Council. McHenry and General Ward have been appointed into the Presidential Advisory Council. And all these people are doing everything now to help us to develop Igbo land. We have a possibility to have other seaport somewhere around Ihiala and Okija, somewhere around Azumeni. So we have a lot of all those things, but God is going to be on my side. I have made a program. In agriculture, that is the best program I've had, the best program. Our agricultural potential, I carried out a study, we haven't used up to 50%. We have a lot of potentials. Our agricultural wealth is enough if mobilized to sustain us. If we plant palm oil and coconut in Igbo land everywhere, I am going to make sure that every community embark on planting of the hybrid, the good breed of palm oil and coconut. We won't even need money from oil. If you plant them, establish oil mills and so on. Oil fake more money now in world market. You know, Nigeria is now importing oil, unfortunately. So the truth we are working very hard. And I want to assure you that we are ready. The question of insecurity in Igbo land is just exaggerated. Exaggerated because it's as long as Nnamdi Kanu is not involved, then it means that the government will now treat them as criminals. And that is why I'm begging them to stop now. I'm begging the government not to bring in the military or so at the moment. I want to give them opportunity to surrender. Because these are my children. You know, any Igbo man who dies, or any Igbo boy who dies, or woman, it's a loss to me, because no father wants to see the death or suffering of his child. But I wouldn't like to fold my hand when the whole place is being destroyed. I don't know whether I have covered some of the things you asked.
Yes, you have. There's some few hands that are up. We will take one or two questions and then call it a day, because we started off just in respect of everybody's time. Buchi Wisdom. can you unmute yourself and ask your question? Oh, Steve, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Chief Heja Gambandibo, good evening, sir.
Hang on. So, Steve, we will ask your question, and then we'll take a couple of questions, and then Chief will answer it all at the same time. Okay? So, go ahead.
Yeah, once again, Chief Heja Gambandibo, good evening, sir. Thank you very much. I must say that I'm delighted to have listened to you. And let me say this quick. Hello, very quickly.
Please, everybody mute your phone if you're not speaking, please. Mute your phone. Go ahead.
I remember that my career in the journalism industry, of course, will not be complete without a mention of the champion newspapers from where I started the journey. And I'm proud of, yes, yes, Chief. Yes, Chief. I remember not quite long ago, I had an interview with you, exclusive one, shortly after you were still in the US during your tour. You told me that one of the plans you had is to revive Nkalago cement industry before December this year. You said it was going to come on stream. And I would like you to, shed more light on that. What is the extent of work on that project? Are we going to be having Nkalago cement before Christmas? That's one. Two, you've scratched it, but can you also tell us more of some of the gains of your overseas trips? Apart from the Americans who said they had declared for Igbo, were there other things that some other achievements you record during that journey? Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, Steve. Chief, before you answer, let's just hear from Uche so that you can answer.
If there are too many questions, I may forget them.
No, just two.
Okay.
Uche, go ahead. Uche Ubaja, the editor-in-chief of Ikenga Line. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, Chief. We are delighted to have you. I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Please, yes, sir. Somebody talked about the leadership question in the Southeast. And we must agree that at the center of all the challenges we are having in the Southeast, whether it's the insecurity or poverty, the leadership question is at the root of it. And if you take a look at your profile, Chief, that is the kind of profile that is so anybody will want to have. How you made it from the university, got through to where you are today. It wasn't just by a single flight. That's dint of good education, hard work. But if you take a look at the Southeast now, the political recruitment process in the Southeast, especially let's take Imo, for instance, for example. I'm not for want of the better word. In the past how many years, you can imagine the quality of leadership we are getting in that people. Our political landscape has been hijacked by people of what you may call novel-rich people. You don't know their means of livelihood. What is Ohaneze?
I don't forget the other ones. Can I answer you now?
Yes, sir. Please. What can you, Ohaneze, do to change this narrative?
Now, listen. Question of leader. You have political leadership. Ohaneze came into stream in order to be able to solve this problem. The mistake in the past is that I think what has happened is that if Ohaneze has the right leadership, the governors are under Ohaneze, they're under me. Now I'll be able to be a compass, show them direction. Because you see, there is no way we can control who wins the election. There is the Nigerian Constitution, which describes somebody who qualification for election. Some of them, in Nigeria, some part of this country, standard 6 is a qualification. Some part of this school is qualification. The Constitution. And when people go into a political party, whoever emerges, in fact, if a majority of the other people are there, they will intimidate the other ones off. But you see, Ohaneze is a place where Igbos can, through their own constitutional effort, put a right person My coming into the to Ohaneze now is just a miracle. I believe it's God's work. You know, I didn't want to take it. I refused because I'm now 80-something years. I said, no, I don't want it. I have served Igbos, I have fought the war, I have got injuries. In fact, those who fought the war with us know that I am the person who commanded the last battle defense of Uli Airport, and I'm the person who stopped Uli Airport from being captured because I had to demolish the bridge at our mama. I did a lot of work, I had injuries, but you see, I don't want to, so it was miraculous. People now insisted, in fact, in fairness to the governors, all the 5 governors also supported me. So, so you can see, because people, they have brought me now, as you rightly said, I have got some experience, I have got some resources, and so on. But if you make it Ohaneze, another political thing, one day it will be hijacked by the same people, because if a thing is by this contest, people bring money, they'll give people money and they vote for them. So I think that that problem is being solved. As time goes on, with education, the number of the people who are educated will be large. So this is going to arise. But I think, frankly speaking, I can tell you at now, I am quite happy with performance of our governors, to be honest, in terms of infrastructure. In a boy state, this Umahi did quite well. The man at Enugu did well. Here in Imo, with due respect to Hope has done well. Hope has started this Uguta dredging. In the road infrastructure, he has done well. The road to my place, there's a Kemele, those who know him very well. This but we don't go there before. Everything is done now. We brought in the Federal University of Hospital. We have got him as a lot of things have been done. So, but whatever deficiency, I want to assure you that now I am the chairman of Ohaneze. I will be able to support them. But at the moment, I want to say that I am quite satisfied with their contribution. And in fact, now the governor of Anambra State, I've been with him, and I'm very highly impressed with the governor of Anambra State. Oti, no doubt, is trying to transform Abia. Oti is doing well. So now even the young man at Ebony seems to be experienced. He was a speaker before, so let's give them a chance. I think by the time we speak again, you may see that things have changed. So let's not bother ourselves about that, because there's nothing you can do. It's a constitutional matter. There is no way you can go and say, don't contest. And then if somebody contests and wins, you can't stop him. So that's about that. Now, you see, I was worried about forgetting some of these things.
Yeah, so just to remind you, he asked about Nkalago.
Nkalago cement.
I had a meeting with the consultant yesterday. The consultant consultant on ISF had a meeting with me yesterday. It wasn't a very happy meeting because he told me, 1, that those equipments are obsolete. 2, that the lease has expired, that we may have to get another lease. 3, that there is this problem from the state government. That one I can easily call them and resolve. But the difficulty now is that we have to get a new mining lease. That one will take some time. We have to also look at the equipment, because he said that to use those ones, new equipments have been manufactured. So I'm not sure that the time deadline of the end of this year will work out, because I had a discussion with him yesterday, and I'm putting together some businessmen, some Igbo businessmen who will take it up. And I want also, you see, it's not even that. We have enough land to produce up to 5 other cement factories. And you know, cement industry, and I'm talking here so that Igbo businessmen can know, the profit margin is about 200%. And the international organizations that give loan very easily for cement factory. So any Igbo businessman who wants, I will join in persuading the state to assist in getting the lease. And of course, federal government gives the mining lease. So if our businessmen can come, it's a question of having the capacity to go overseas to raise the money. Many investors will invest in such a business. So I'm still very hopeful on that. You asked the other question. What was the other question you asked? I think
the
some of the successes. The successes
the question
recorded.
was the other things that
when I travel now, I
your
can tell
foreign
you,
trip.
Okay, let me tell you what I have done. I have restructured Ohaneze. In Nigeria, I started from Nigeria. I have now structured Ohaneze in Nigeria to 3 zones. I don't want everybody to be coming to Enugu every time. I have 3 zones. Western zone, headquarters in Lagos. It comprises Ondo State, Ekiti State, Osun State, Oyo State, Ogun State, and Lagos. Now, Eastern State comprises South, South, and Southeast, headquarters in Enugu. Northern State comprises Northeast, Northwest, and North Central, headquarters in Abuja. Now, I had the first, in July, I had the first tour of Southwest, and I had a convention of Southwest in Lagos. It was very successful. People were very excited. This is not the meeting, everybody walk in and go. No, I insisted that every person must be a delegate accredited. Every state brought 10 delegates. Only Lagos brought about 30. So everybody there was accredited, and we took decisions, and everybody was happy. For the first time, people were rejoicing. I went to, we held a meeting. Okiwe hosted a meeting of elders. All the elders and top people in Lagos, in Ukiwe's house. It was very successful. Then on the next day, we went to Araba Market. It was fantastic. They closed the whole market. That is time I announced around that Igbos are many there. So they were very excited. They just all expressed the view that Igbos are visiting again. They were very excited. Then that day, Adebanjo hosted us to a lunch. Adebanjo is the leader of Periphery. He has been very good to us. As you probably know, that Ohaneze, South, and Periphery, we have joined together as one unit to work together. Now, Middle Belt is also with us because we believe that when we work together, we'll be able. And if you notice, we achieved the result we achieved in Obi's election because you see, the Periphery, even the leader, Rabanjo, at the age of 96, was going for campaign for Peter Obi. The man of Andev, that's Southward, was campaigning for us. So, and then even the Middle Belt. So that unity was the outcome of, why Obi had a lot of votes during this election. In fact, it was part of my own decision. I chairman the committee which met in Port Harcourt for a month, that decided that we had to come together, and we're together now. So he gave us a lunch. Then that night too, I met with the governor. So we resolved a lot of problems and the fears Igbos have. So I was able to get that resolved. Everything was under control. Then from there, I came to Lagos, Abuja. We had a meeting with all members of the National Assembly. It was fantastic. Everybody was there. All the leaders, we had a meeting in Abuja. In fact, the governor of Imo State gave us his house at Asokoro, where we held the meeting. It was very fantastic. Many governors were there. Then the next day, I moved to London. In London, I was received at the airport in a most, in a very ceremonial way. In Heathrow, people came with gallant, with everything. The white people were looking. They said that this Igbo leader is this Nigerian. So it was very exciting. Now in London, I had meetings. They had problems. I was able to resolve. I resolved their meeting. They had crisis. They had about 2 or 3 factions. These are the problems we have. I was able to resolve it. I used my style. And eventually, by the time I left, everybody came under one umbrella. So I was able to achieve unity there. But one significant thing in London is that the ambassador, Nigerian ambassador there, who is from Southwest, organized a banquet for me at the Nigerian High Commission. And he said a lot of good things about me and about Igbos. So I was very, very impressed. While in London, I got some British business people because, the ambassador, the British High Commissioner visited me in Enugu, and then we discussed, and he promised to do business with our people when the business community was set up. So while in London, some businessmen who knew about that meeting called me and expressed their interest in doing business in Igbo land. Then I went to America. Of course, you know about these people who are part of Igbo, but then I discussed business with them, and they advised me. One of those Americans who are now Igbos, said that he has a lot of investment in India. He told me that some years ago, Indians were in a bad state, but India now decided to give priority to education, to health, agriculture, and to health. He says that India is the biggest supplier of drugs to the world today. In fact, he has some companies in India that supply drugs. So he said that Igbo land has got so many raw materials for this. And if we can start pharmaceutical businesses, and that is not a complicated, it's a very simple thing. That in that type of thing, you don't need a very complex industry. As long as people are honest and don't make fake drugs. Once it's honest, the world will soon know that they're the best. And also the education, we talked about even this, looking at the world is getting small, what the world wants. Today, the Western powers, Western countries look forward to Africa for nurses, for technicians like welders, like drivers, like if we have proper schools that train them and have alliance, have a connect with the UK or America, it means that our people who train here can be employed there, and they will be bringing diaspora investment returns to us. So, and then they also have businessmen who now are happy that port is now in the concurrent list. So they are now ready to come and invest, even in even in railways mainly railways and seaports. So it was a very successful trip, very successful.
Okay.
I don't know the last question. Is there another question I've not answered?
No. I think you've done a lot of justice to the questions, and we want to be respectful of everybody's time because we started off late. But wow, it's we're very impressed with your delivery and all. You're still very much on top of your game. You don't seem to be tired at all. Okay, so we thank you so much.
I'm grateful to God. God is kind. God is kind.
Yeah, that is true. Well, we thank you so much for your time. And we'll also use this opportunity to tell you, I don't know how much you know about Ikenga, but Ikenga was basically established, like Chido said last year, to be the mouthpiece of the Igbos. Because before now, Igbos, we don't really have a news organization that is entirely dedicated to projecting us on a good light and even showcasing our culture. That is what Ikenga has come to do. We are a non-profit organization. We are supported by we are collaborating with the Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism, and we are supported by the Makato Foundation. So we're doing everything to project our people in a good light. So the Ohaneze Igbo under your leadership has a very ready partner in the Ikenga Media and the Cultural Awareness Initiative. If you guys are putting up information out there, we are here to do it for you, and we'll do it very, very well because it's our own. So on that note, I will just thank you so much. And
before we follow up, I want to say that I am prepared to partner with Ikenga, please. I would like to have a meeting with you because I'm very highly impressed. Because you see, I don't like Igbos who sit and talk and conduct researching. I like people who show by action, and Ikenga has shown that. I would like to arrange a meeting with you as soon as possible. Under my leadership, I would like to partner with you, and I'm sure a lot can be achieved. I'm very highly impressed with this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We'll arrange for the meeting. Chido, you can now go ahead and conclude.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Iwuanyanwu, and thank you for everyone who has been part of this. We have a recording of this event, which will be shared accordingly. So, Doctor, you let us know I'm based in Abuja, though I'm currently in the Southeast. If you are in Abuja, we can arrange to meet to just do a formal introduction. Whereas Dr. Osman said, we're available for interview, press releases, showcasing whatever it is that Ohaneze Ndigbo is doing at home and abroad. Once again, we thank everybody and we look forward to welcoming you to another town hall meeting on last Thursday of September. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very much. I will.
Thank you.
I have the number of OC. I think OC.
Yes,
Osman.
yes.
I have the number.
Okay.
But even if I don't call you, you can call me around next week. Next week, call me around next week Thursday.
Okay.
But will you be in Abuja by this? I'm in Owerri now.
Oh,
I'm back from Nigeria. I'm in Owerri now.
okay.
So,
Okay, if it's possible to see you tomorrow, incidentally,
no.
Owerri.
It's not possible. I'm choked up with engagements tomorrow.
Okay.
Abuja is better.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
Chido
so
is my colleague.
have any urgent need.
Sure.
Because there are so many things, a lot of things that we're required to do. A lot.
Sure.
You see, a lot. When I see you, we discuss a lot of things to do. So call me around Friday, Thursday next
Sure.
week.
We'll do
Yeah,
it. Thank you so much.
all right. Thank you.
Because I know that you need finance to survive. If we see areas where your group can make some money, because you see, without making money, you will not be strong enough to defend and protect the Igbos.
Absolutely.
So,
100%.
we will also be able to explore areas where you can make some money. So
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you so much and goodbye, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.
What a happy night.
Bye then, Richie.